Hi, Colorado Springs. This is Jenny Bayless, and I am going solo this week because Chris is on a very well-deserved vacation right now. So I wanted to go over a duplex that we closed on a couple weeks ago with some buyer clients of ours. And these clients, they are really sophisticated investors. They really know what they're looking for. And this one just matched exactly what they're looking for to add to their portfolio. So as I mentioned, this is a duplex. It's over on the west side of town, which is usually pretty desirable for tenants and owners alike, just because it's in such close proximity to restaurants, shopping over by the mountains, all that good stuff. So it's a pretty hot area of town. So this duplex popped up on the MLS, and we definitely it grabbed my attention for sure. I sent it over to them. They really liked it, and we acted quickly and strongly on this property. So um, the sellers were overseas, so they wanted a 48 hours acceptance deadline, but the buyers, they submitted a strong enough offer that they got back to us the next day. So that was kind of exciting. So they listed the property for $450,000, and as part of the offer process, we included an escalation clause. So it got bid up to 481,100. And these buyers, they actually ended up paying cash for the property with the intent of refinancing it shortly thereafter. I think they're very close to being able to pull out their funds for this property. So it was a really great opportunity that they were able to use the cash that they had on hand, and then quickly leverage it, quickly re-leverage the property by placing a note on it and pulling their cash back out, hopefully being able to do this strategy again and again. So I have done the deal analysis with the assumption that they've re-leveraged the property. So just going through our typical deal analysis spreadsheet, we'll go down the fields and kind of chat about each one. So as I mentioned, this is a duplex. The buyers, they're going to have 25% equity in the property, cash in the property, and they bought it for 481,100. We're going to assume acquisition and loan costs about 8,500 by the time that they're done refinancing it. And just kind of going down the line here, seller credits, $1,500. So this was negotiated as part of inspection. So this duplex was built, I think it was 1895. So it is quite an old property, but a couple of years ago, someone renovated this property and did an absolutely phenomenal job on the renovation. Looked really, really great cosmetically. As we came to find out from the inspection, the inspector hardly found anything to note, with the exception there was, a couple of electrical issues, few plumbing, a couple of things that the handyman needs to address. But the main thing being that the gutter system was looking a little worse for wear. There's cracks, misalignment, that sort of thing. So the $1,500 we negotiated so that the buyers can replace the gutter system. And so I have initial repair costs of about 2,000 on top of that. So once they refinance, we're thinking 3.875% interest rate on a 30-year fixed note. So pretty good. And then in terms of rents, so this is an up-down duplex. The top unit has 2 beds, 2 baths, one of which has even a rain shower head, which is pretty amazing. So it's a very, very well done unit. And the bottom unit is also very nicely done, but it looks more in line with what you would expect with a rental property. 2 beds, 1 bath, also nicely done as well. But both units are actually running for 1,500, which I found interesting. I think that there's a little bit of room to negotiate that top unit up. So if there's a turnover, I think that the buyers would be able to consider raising the rent on that top unit just because of the level of finishings on it. So we're all in at $3,000 a month in total monthly rent. So just scrolling down the rest of the spreadsheet, using our usual factors that we use: 3% for vacancy, 3% for annual rent increase, 5% annual appreciation rate, 25% effective tax, going down to monthly operating expenses. So these buyers, they are out of town, out of state. So they have a property manager in place. So we have a 10% factor for that. And we're using 5% for reserves and maintenance. This property has been very recently redone. The inspector did not see any deferred maintenance. So I think 5% is a pretty reasonable number, given those two pieces of information. And then going down to the annual expenses, annual real estate taxes are $1,550, and annual property insurance is $1,600 a year. And we have $500 a year budgeted for snow and landscaping. There's no grass on the property. It's like mulch and hardscaping. But there are, you have to pull weeds in the spring and definitely shovel when it snows, just so that no one slips in that case. So what you might be noticing is that I did not mention any utility costs. And the reason being is that even though this property is rather old, you would expect that there would not be separate utility meters, and that is the case. There is not separate utility meters, but whoever set up the lease and whoever decided to do this, I think they did a really great job in keeping everything simple. So the way that utilities are handled is that the owner of the property gets billed by Colorado Springs Utilities for all the utilities, and then in arrears every month they just cut the bill in half and charge each tenant half of the utility bill total. So expectations are known. It's written in the lease that way. Everyone knows that's how it works. I talked to the tenants when I was over there for inspection, just kind of getting a feel for what they thought about it. They said no issues. So I thought that was a really smart way to just kind of keep everything simple. Especially I know that most people want separate utility meters because that seems like it's the most simple way of doing things, but this works just as well. So I think that it's a really good option for that. So we'll go to our cash flow tab on the spreadsheet, and we are all in for about $129,000 to include down payment, closing costs, initial repair. And if we are to scroll down to our net operating income, we're at $25,870 for the year. Minus our mortgage payments, we get to an annual cash flow before taxes of $5,500 a year, which equates to a cash on cash return of 4.3% and a 5.4% cap rate. So if you were to ask me what I think of this deal, I really, really, really like it. I think that it's just a solid property that performs really well. There's room to increase rents on the top unit, in my opinion. I think that it's in a super solid part of town with, hardly any deferred maintenance, if any. So it's just a really, really good property for these buyers to add to their portfolio. I think that it will consistently provide them pretty solid returns, if I had to guess on that. So yeah, this is just an example of a property that we closed in August. And, just to kind of show that deals still are out there. They're few and far between, but they are out there. So we can definitely help you find them. It takes a little bit of patience, takes a little bit of aggressiveness in terms of the offer like this. But, we're here to analyze what resources you have, how we can use them to our advantage to secure the property. And then, like in the case of these buyers, they were able to utilize cash and then turn around and re-leverage it so that they're being benefited on the back end of that. So realize that's not everyone's opportunity, but we can definitely tailor your strategy so that we can hopefully increase the odds of landing something as good as this one. So if anyone has any questions out there, just give me a shout. You can email me at jenny@envisionrea.com. All right, talk soon.